Secretary Blinken is heading to China later this week. When his initial trip was canceled, you all said he would go when the time is right. So why now? Why is this now the right time?
So a couple of things. I know my colleagues at NSC and State did a 8 a.m. On the record call at 8 a.m. So certainly would refer you to, and they spoke to Blinken's trip. So certainly would refer you to that. And my colleague, if it hasn't happened already, at the State Department, Matt Miller was supposed to give a briefing, and I'm sure he got a lot of back and forth on this particular trip. I'll say a couple of things about this. The administration has strengthened America's ability to outcompete China for the next decade and beyond, and we've done that, as I was just iterating, by building an economy that works for all and doesn't leave anybody behind. And you see this. You see the investments that we're seeing in America, especially with manufacturing, and you see this with 800,000 manufacturing jobs, all incredibly important. So China will continue to be around and a major player on the world stage as we are putting ourselves on that stronger footing to compete. They have and will continue to take provocative steps. We understand that. And you've heard the president say it's important to have that diplomacy with world leaders. It's important to have that discussion. So we believe intense competition requires intense diplomacy, and that's what you're seeing from the State Department. Lastly, it is responsible way, we believe, to manage tensions, clear up misperceptions and miscalculations even, and it is in our interest to try and figure out a way to work together. And this is what you're seeing. This is what you're going to see from Secretary Blinken's trip when he heads out on Saturday.
You note that the president, feels it's important to have this kind of in-person diplomacy. What exactly is the president hoping that the secretary will be able to accomplish? And is it the president's hope that these meetings pave the way for an in-person meeting between the president and President Xi?
So I can't speak to an in-person meeting with President Xi right now, with our president. What I can say is there are a couple objectives that we are hoping, and this is something that the State Department said. So I certainly would refer you to them. But the three main objectives for the visit is, one, to establish communication channels to help manage competition so it does not veer into conflict, which is something that we have said, keeping those lines of communication open. Two, to stand up and speak for American values. That's something that the president leads with, and also interest. And the last and third thing is it is in our interest that we believe to explore potential cooperation and transnational challenges. And so those are the three objectives that came directly from the State Department. I would refer you to the State Department on anything more specifics about the trip.
I know you don't have any kind of future meeting to announce, but do you view this as laying the groundwork for a potential?
Well, we view this as an important part of our diplomacy and our conversation that we believe that we need to have with China. As we have said, they're going to be a major player for a long time. We believe that we are in a right footing, especially of the work that the president has done the last 2 years. When you look at the economy, when you look at the competition, you look at what we have been able to do. And so we want to continue to have those open line of conversation. And this is about diplomacy, which is why the Secretary of State is heading to China on Saturday.